Well, hello and thank you for joining me for another iTWire video. I have with me today Jim Cook. He is the Regional Director of Malwarebytes for Australia and New Zealand. Welcome to the program.
Thanks, Alex. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Now, I thought I'd just ask you to quickly tell us a bit about yourself and your history in the world of security, and also a little bit about Malwarebytes.
Sure. So I've been in Australia for 17 years, and the whole of that time I've been working in the IT security industry, mostly for IT vendors. And I've been at Malwarebytes since October. I was the first employee in country.
Yeah.
And I run a team of 6 people across Australia and New Zealand, looking after building the brand and building the reputation of Malwarebytes in region.
Sure. Now, I mean, Malwarebytes has had huge popularity in Australia for years. Personally, I've been actively promoting both the free and the paid versions to my PC and Mac owning friends, but I understand that there's been some news today specifically on the Mac front.
Yes, absolutely, that's right. So we've just released the proactive version of our Mac product.
Which is the paid, I mean, I know I said paid, but really paid was only for me, was for the Windows, but now you've got a proactive paid version for Mac.
Absolutely, yeah. So the difference is, before we would clean up any malware issues that you may have on your Mac, and now we'll prevent them from occurring in the first place.
Which is the reason why you want to pay for Malwarebytes, because you want that proactivity to save you all the trouble of
absolutely.
being infected. Yeah. And look, I'm going to point to my colleague's article who wrote about a new survey that you have. It's entitled "Understanding the Depth of the Ransomware Problem in a Small Business and Mid-sized Businesses in Australia," and you have a global report.
Yes.
So I'll link to that report and to my colleague's article, which is already up on iTWire. But what are some of the the headline findings for Australia that you can just share with us?
Yeah, sure, Alex. So first of all, it's a global report, but this year we took a good sample from the Australian population. So sub 1,000 employees. And the primary finding was that most Australians aren't so concerned about paying the ransom, they're more concerned about the amount of downtime that it has. So about 31% of Australian businesses that we surveyed had a ransomware attack during the last year, and almost all of them experienced a significant amount of business disruption. So for me, the biggest thing in the report was exactly that, the fact that the ransomware may be very small, maybe $500, which to a lot of companies is quite affordable, but it's the business disruption which has been the biggest concern for everyone.
So, I mean, I know that the best form of prevention is to make sure that your staff are educated, they don't click on things, and you have backup so you can re-image. But what are the things that Malwarebytes does for consumers and enterprise customers to actively prevent ransomware from taking hold?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you're quite right. The main thing is that users need to be very careful. People who use the internet need to be aware of what's going on all the time. But even if that's the case, it's possible to still get infected. It's possible now that you can browse to a completely legitimate website and still get a malware infection on your computer. So Malwarebytes proactive technology is designed to stop that. So we don't believe that one particular piece of layer will stop everything. So we have lots of different layers, 7 different layers of protection, which is everything from a machine learning base to a web filtering base layer. There's a whole raft of different technologies that work in symphony to reduce the chance of getting a malware infection.
But I mean, if all that fails for whatever reason, Malwarebytes is still actively saying, "Hey, I can see some encryption happening here. We better stop that."
Yeah, absolutely. So from a ransomware specific point of view, we have a particular layer called anti-ransomware, and the job of that particular layer is to understand the behaviour that ransomware from whoever made it has to do. So there are certain places it has to go on a PC or a Mac. There are certain ways that it has to behave, and we understand what they are, and we can block them and stop them from occurring. So even if the ransomware does actually manage to install itself on your machine, if you're running our solution, then you shouldn't actually get your files encrypted.
Sure. And then and sort of to that point, that it's not just about ransomware. You also have malvertising protection, spyware, adware, vulnerabilities. I mean, it really is a multifaceted protective tool.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, ransomware's got the
headlines.
Exactly. Yeah, it's created a huge amount of press recently, and it is a very significant part of the malware
community or
ecosystem,
framework,
I suppose, that's out there.
Ecosystem,
yeah. But there are absolutely a lot of different sorts of malware, which could have a negative effect. So there's Trojans, there's many different forms of malware, and our solution is designed to stop all of those from infecting your business, or if you're a consumer, your home PCs as well.
So how have you been going over the past few months since October last year? What sort of promotion are you doing in the marketplace, whether online or offline, to consumers and enterprises? I mean, I know word of mouth is huge. Personally, I tell everybody.
Thank you for your support.
But there must be, what other sort of activities are you doing to let the people and companies know that you're here and you're now offering local support and services?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have, I suppose, a multifaceted approach to this.
Mm-hmm.
The thought leadership, I think, is one of the most important things. So when we're lucky that when an infection occurs, people often Google, how do I remove an infection from my machine, and Malwarebytes is one of the most commonly used products. So we get a good level of visibility from that. Mm-hmm. We do have a large team of malware researchers, though, who are right on the cutting edge of the latest stuff, and they produce blogs, if you like, or research pieces sometimes as well, which we promote. We subscribe to online learning sites such as Dark Reading, and we put our thought leadership articles on there. We also have a local team of 6 people. We have an extensive partner community, over 900 partners actually in Australia.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And these service the SMB, the mid-market, and the larger enterprise businesses. And so we market to those people, we talk to those people, and we explain how our solution should work, how it should be deployed, and how they can protect their customers better.
And then you're also taking part in upcoming Gartner security conferences and all that.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're marketing to security professionals by attending the right events, going and seeing them directly. We have a small sales team here, so their job is to go and directly connect with people and explain why our solution is the one that they should look at.
Now, as we get to the end of the interview, there's always a couple of questions I'd like to ask. One is, how do you think the world of malware will look in a decade? And I mean, I'm jokingly saying, will ransomware be infecting our memory-enhancing brain implants, and might we be writing ransomware to knock off the Terminator?
Well, potentially, I suppose.
Hopefully we don't end up in that dystopian world.
No, hopefully the good guys will win out, unlike what the film producers.
Come
like
on,
to
John
talk about.
Connor. Yeah.
So, my view is that it's not going away. There's too much money involved in being a cyber criminal for it to go away, and you can hide in your house. You don't even have to take a physical risk. It's all done over the internet. So the rise of artificial intelligence is definitely going to affect things, both from a proactive protection point of view, something that we already have in our technology, and so there's a view that the cyber criminals will also have that.
I mean,
approach.
Earlier today, one of the other journalists was mentioning AI against AI. It'll be the bad guy's AI, and then it'll be that famous Malwarebytes robot you have on your front page. That AI, they'll be battling it out for supremacy as to who's protecting who and who's getting who.
A bit like a game of chess.
That's it. And so the second question I always like to ask as we get to the end is, what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received to help you get where you are today?
Yeah. I think probably the thing that's always stuck with me most is that organisations are just people. It's just a group of people and a load of processes. So you can always, if you can find the right person, you can always get something changed. So it may seem like a big scary edifice to capitalism, but the reality is it's a load of people doing their thing, and so if you break it down like that, then I've found that to be quite a leveler.
And so, do you have any final messages for iTWire viewers and readers, and for your current and future customers?
Be aware. I think that's the most important thing. You got to trust a technology vendor to do some of the job, but they won't do everything. So make sure that you're thinking about what you're doing. Only click on things that you trust, and keep up to date with security. And I just realised that Jim Cook sounds very much like Tim Cook, so you probably heard that one before. But best of luck with Malwarebytes. And I'm not related to James Cook, the supposed discoverer of Australia. Yeah. Well, look, there was the Chinese and the Dutch and all the rest. But look, best of luck. I hope to be using a Malwarebytes customer for many years to come, and I look forward to more advancements from you guys. Thank you, Alex. Thank you. Great to meet you. Thank you.